Hey all! For our first history video, I figured that I would just go over generally what this exam is going to be on. I was a little bit unclear, so this kind of prompted me to do my own research. So first, I'm going to be talking about how the exam normally looks, and then I'm going to be discussing specifically May 2022 changes. I'm going to be taking the exam in May 2022. If you are not, I would check up on what your changes might be if there are any, which there may not be. If there are none and the curriculum doesn't change, then this is exactly how your exam will look. If there are changes, then good luck to you. I will also be stating the percentages and how much time and all that, and I am going to be saying which topics I believe that I am covering, if I'm clear. Okay, so we're going to start with paper 1, which is worth 20% of your score, basically. And paper 1 is going to be skill-based instead of content-based. It's going to be a bunch of documents, and you're going to be needing to synthesize those documents and do a bunch of fun stuff with them. Specifically, those are going to be dealing with the 2 case studies that you will have to study. For us, that's going to be the move to global war, which means that we're going to be covering Japan, which I'm very excited about, as well as Germany and Italy and their expansion, which I am less excited about. So within paper 1, there are 4 different questions that are always going to be the same structure. Not the same question, the same structure. So let's just briefly go over those structures of those questions, okay? So question 1 is going to be in 2 parts. It's going to be mainly historical comprehension, explaining the content and meaning of the provided documents. So you're going to be looking at the documents they gave you and kind of connecting them to history. This is really the only part where you need to have some background knowledge that you couldn't just draw directly from the documents because you're kind of going to be explaining them in context. And there are going to be 2 parts, like I said. So the first part is going to be to extract and infer information from these documents. And the second part, you're going to need to make 2 points during this time and refer to the source that you're getting those points from. Again, this should be the easiest paper. It has not changed for the May 2022 exam, so this is exactly how we will see it. So question number 2 is going to be evaluating a source based on values and limitations. You thought those were going away after your eye? Think again. Values and limitations, 1 source. Easy, we got that. They recommend only spending 10 minutes on the first question, both parts of it, and 10 minutes on question 2, which is, again, values and limitations. Question 3, they recommend spending about 15 minutes on, and that's going to be to compare and contrast 2 sources based on their themes and ideas. So keep in mind, you're not necessarily contrasting the information they are giving. It's more about the themes and ideas. And finally, the longest question is going to be 25 minutes, coming in at question 4. This is going to be a mini essay that is synthesizing the sources that you were given and kind of making sense of them. Again, you would want to pull in some of your historical knowledge. This is why you would spend the time to learn the case studies in the first place, is primarily question 1 and question 4. Again, these case studies are not a super big deal if you can't study them really quickly. So I would say if you're in a bind, study these last, because you could probably make do with just a little bit of background knowledge, which you probably already have. So next up, I'm going to be talking about paper 2. There are changes for paper 2 for the May 2022 exam, so I will get to those in just a minute. So paper 2 is traditionally going to be 90 minutes. You're going to need to answer 2 questions, each of them from a different topic. Be mindful of which topics you're picking your questions from, because they do have to be from a different topic each, or you will not get points for them. These are going to be a full essay that's going to be like open questions. You're kind of using your knowledge here, and these are going to come from your global issues. So if you're taking standard level, you're only going to have to do paper 1 and paper 2, which is this. Our 2 global issues that we've picked, I believe, are the causes and effects of the 20th century wars and the Cold War. I am a little bit unclear on whether we're covering the Cold War in both the global issues and history of the Americas, which is our general topic for higher level, or whether we're just doing one or the other. I don't know, a little bit unclear. So I plan on covering both, ideally. But yes, those are the topics that we are doing for paper 2. Again, those questions you're going to want to pull in information from those 2 topics if you're gaining all of your information from here. If not, I would find out what your global issues are versus what your regional topics are and go from there. Alrighty, so the changes for the May 2022 exam for paper 2 are going to be that it is only going to be 1 question. You're only going to have to pick 1 question. So there is a really good chance that you really only need to know one of those 2 topics. Pick the one that you know more about. It's probably going to be the 20th century wars unless you're a real Cold War buff. And learn as much as you can. Does it hurt to know about the other topic? Absolutely not, because if you get and sit on that exam and you find out that there are questions there that you don't know the answers to, and you only studied one of those 2 subjects, sorry. Alrighty, moving on to paper 3. So this one is going to require you to answer 3 questions, either 2 from one topic, or one subject and 1 from another, or 1 each, spread across different subjects. So for this is only higher level. Your teacher will probably have told you that you're either taking History of the Americas or Asia and Oceania. It really depends. We're doing History of the Americas. That's what I'll be covering here. And I believe the topics that we have picked, I am very unclear on what they are, but I believe that they're the Civil War, maybe the Cold War, the Second World War for sure, and maybe nation building and challenges. I don't think it hurts to learn all of them, but definitely pick the ones that you're strongest in and learn them. There is nothing saying that you have to go in and answer questions from your school's assigned subject. I believe there's nothing saying that. So if you really feel strongly about a different subject, I would recommend doing the research on that too, because it doesn't hurt to have some background knowledge. Now, to be very clear, if you sit for this paper and you write about Germany or Japan, which is the things that you were supposed to be doing for paper 1, those case studies, you will not earn credit. So don't do that. If you are in May 2022, paper 3 is also going to be different. Instead of answering 3 questions, you're only going to be answering 2. However, they both have to be from different subjects. So in this case, you have to learn 3 subjects. Your teacher should have been assigned or should be teaching you 3 subjects within your History of the Americas. And you need to answer a different question. It has to come from one of those. It has to come one from 2 different of those topics, right? If you are any other year than May 2022, then it's okay. You can answer 2 from one subject and 1 from another, and it's not a bad idea to just pick the 2 you're most your strongest in, and just learn those. But again, if you have the time and you have the energy, I really do recommend sitting down and learning all the subjects, because otherwise you could get into this exam and be kicking yourself. So I don't think I said this before, but paper 2 is traditionally 90 minutes, and paper 3 is traditionally 2 hours and 30 minutes. For the May 2022 exam, both of those will be shortened, though I couldn't tell you exactly by how much. I could probably look, but I didn't do that. Paper 2 is going to be worth 25% of your score, and paper 3 is going to be worth 35%. So that's the biggest chunk out of all of them. So you might be saying to yourself, 20 plus 25 plus 30 doesn't equal 100. Well, that's where your IA comes in. Your IA is also going to be worth 20% of your score. So that's why it's super important. That can really bump you up or down from a number. I will not be covering on how to write an IA here because I already did my IA and I didn't have any trouble. There are lots of resources online if you're struggling with that though. All right, I think that just about covers it. Good luck and let's do this.